Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of the Chocolate Shake. Inshallah, today I'd like to finish the topic of how to deal with a cheating spouse. I spoke to you guys about an acquaintance of mine who contacted me about the fact that he learned that his wife was having this extramarital affair. And again, as I said in the previous video, he doesn't know exactly where the relationship went. He doesn't know if it became physical or not. But of course, by all indication, if it did not get to there, still it's considered cheating in the sense that this woman had given herself almost totally to the other guy. And the relationship with her husband had gone into a point where it became almost sexless and they were having other issues that went all the way back for years. This couple has been married for many years, so they know each other. They have a love for one another. And before I go any further, I'd be the first to tell you that you can be in a relationship, a marriage, for many years and absolutely be in love with your spouse. But it doesn't mean that every time that we find ourselves in love, when we think about our spouses and we make our own mental judgments about them and we have our own calculations about their lives or our lives, it doesn't mean that we don't like them at some certain points, right? We have these spouses, and just because we love them, it doesn't mean that we like them all the time. You don't have to like who you love if you understand what true love is. However, if you are in love, then what that means is you have all of the underpinnings, right? You have all of the brick and the mortar. You have all of the foundation in the relationship to continue to move forward to bring yourselves back to where not only are you in love, but you like each other, right? You're able to say, okay, no, I want to be with this person, that I love this person enough to say that they're one of my favorite persons, all right? So that's where we're aiming. This is where we're going with this. So back to this acquaintance of mine who's having these issues. I said in the last video that part and parcel, mainly of these bad relationships that we're in, is because we really don't know ourselves and we don't know where we are in our own lives. And yet we're moving along with women and children, or if you're a woman, you're moving along with your husband and your children. And as we start to move along in these relationships, that's basically our lives, right? These situations comprise what we call life. We are lifing, or as people are saying nowadays, we are adulting. And in the process of it, we forget, or we don't have the practices to remind ourselves about what we're needing to do in those moments. In that watch, in that clock of time, what are we supposed to be concentrating on? And who are we in it? Now, if you know, or we know who we are in those junctures in our lives, then of course it makes it a whole lot easier to understand the relationship. Because I may not know exactly what's going on in the mind, in the soul of my wife. But if I know where I am and what's going on in my own mind and my own soul, then hey, 50% of that battle is already solved. So at that juncture, all I have to do is sit down with my spouse and communicate it out. Like, this is where I am and where are you? But that doesn't work if you don't know where you are, or if you think that you're in a particular place in your own life and you're not there. You're just not there. We've practiced some type of self-deceit about our situation. What we have going on in our heads is not the reality on the ground. We have figments of our imagination that we've let run wild and unchecked, undisciplined, right? And these undisciplined figments of our imagination that we allow to run wild and believe that are true to any degree hurt ourselves. Of course, it's going to hurt our children and our spouses. It's going to hurt ourselves because we're practicing a type of self-deception. This self-deception is the root cause of a lot of our problems as adults. And this is where I was getting at with the brother. So it's not that you wag your finger at your spouse because of what she did. We have to look at ourselves, find out where we actually are. And are we practicing some type of self-delusion, self-deceit, and that we're projecting that to the world as this is who I am as the chocolate shake. This is who I am as Jerry. This is who I am as Barry. This is who I am as Mustafa. This is who I am as Muhammad, right? Are we doing that? And if we're doing that, then of course, now the world's perception of us is going to be what we've projected to the world. And so the world's going to say, okay, this is who Muhammad is. This is who Mustafa is. This is who Aisha is. This is who Khadija is. This is who Sally is. This is who Mary is. Because we've taken this self-deception, this self-deluded concept of ourselves, and we projected it to the world. So everybody say, okay, I accept that. If that's who you say you are, I accept that. And this is the problem that I found that most of us are having. And particularly, this is the problem that I'm finding with this couple. They are just lost in who they really are and have not come to terms with the reality that, hey, for me to understand my spouse, I have to understand myself first. And then once I understand myself first and what it is that I want for myself, what it is I really am, then I can communicate that to this woman. And this woman would know, okay, that's who you are. This is where we are now in the relationship. Now, okay, I got it. I understand it. And I can now move forward with you as a spouse. We're okay. I understand you now. And this is where I am. And I hope you understand me now. So let's move forward in our marriage. We don't have to get a divorce. We don't have to do. And that's another thing. Let the Sheikh say this real quick. Just because we have issues with our spouses does not mean we have to run for divorce. I tell you, people run for divorce for every little thing. You cannot have anything in this life if you don't fight for it. And that includes marriage. It's just one of those things you have to fight for. In fact, everything. If you want to buy a car and keep it, you want to buy a house and keep it, whatever it is that you want to have your children and keep your children in your life. When you have a good relationship with your children, then you just can't continue to have falling outs. And then every time you have a falling out, you say, okay, be gone. I don't need you in my life. I'm trying to achieve nirvana. I'm trying to achieve peace. I want salam in my life, right? So go to hell. They're good. I'll be by myself. I'll be right here with my dog. I'll be the dog man. And then for the women, I'll be the cat lady, right? This is childish. And you'll get nothing out of life that way. You'll never evolve to be a beautiful mu'min human being, right? You'll never evolve to be that beautiful, believing creature that attract nothing but love and satisfaction to you in your life if you can't tolerate other people nor tolerate yourself. We have to get to the point where we understand that people are going to people. They're going to do what people do. And we ourselves are part of that. So we have to learn how to get along and go along. That's just a part of life. So every time we have a situation with our spouse or with our children or family member or whatever the case may be, co-workers, we just can't divorce the world. You have to have relationships and you have to know how to manipulate the relationships, and you have to learn how to, more than anything else, bring your own ego down, right? Bring your ego down to the point where you smash it, or if you can't completely erase that ego. When I say the ego, I'm talking about the false self, okay? That false self is what projects off these self-delusions. It's the false self that tell the world that I am a PhD in my subject, and that makes me better than you concerning this issue. Oh, I'm a white man, and because I'm a white man, inherently, I'm superior to you. Oh, I am a man, and because I'm man, I'm better than you. Or because I'm woman, I'm better than you, right? These are the things I'm talking about. That's just ego. And as we start to erode that ego or check that ego, or we identify it, that's the other part. You have to identify it. You have to realize that this is what's going on. You're inside of an ego play. Once we understand we're inside of that ego play. Then you take your bow, you draw it back, and bloop, you make sure that you shoot that arrow right into the heart of your own ego, and you try to kill it. You try to annihilate it. And not only that, the great Ayatollah Khomeini said, once you kill your ego, don't just let it stay there in the room, because it'll start to stink up the room like any dead body. He said, not only must you kill your ego, but you must drag it out and bury it, right? And what he was trying to say is you must completely eliminate the ego. Don't just kill it, but completely erase the false self. And we look at the ego as the false self, right? Amongst the spiritual masters, the language that they use is they tell us that our egos are our false selves. It's not our real self. Our real selves work in tandem with God and nature. For those who don't believe in God, and you should, but if you don't, then you're looking at nature, how nature is, all right? How nature is. So when we ourselves are falling in tandem with nature, or when we ourselves are falling in tandem with God, now we're on the natural path, and you're exactly what you're supposed to be. Unfortunately, because the human being is the thinking creature, our thinking, which was designed to make us better beings, can get in the way of our natural selves, right? If we have been indoctrinated with ideals or philosophies that are not natural, and we accept those as realities. So what happens is we have a bifurcation when we're children. We get a bifurcation from what it was that we were naturally, because someone starts to tell us, our parents, they start to tell us, oh, you're so cute. You're so handsome. You know, you're better than that person. You're better than this. Oh, those toys, those clothes, those things, material things, those belong to you. Those are yours. Those don't belong to your brother, Sean. Those don't belong to your brother, Marcus. Those don't belong to your sister, Saida. Those don't belong to your sister, Khadija. No, those are your things. So as we come up as children, we then become bifurcated. We start to understand separation. Oh, so I'm not a part of a whole. I'm my own individual with my own clothes, my own toys, my own stuff. So I have my own, and I can make claim to things and say that they're mine. Right? They're not yours. They're not to be shared with others. These things are mine. So we learn bifurcation. And once we learn bifurcation, oh my God, now we're off to the races. And it is only until our coattail is pulled by the spiritual masters do we remember. We have a memory that, hey, man, nothing is yours. You have nothing. You own nothing. This world belongs to the Creator who gave it. And everything in this world, nothing here we can take with us to the graves. So no, it's not yours, right? It's actually not yours. We're borrowing. We're borrowers. And everything has to be turned right back over as we start to leave this world. So the things that we claim that are ours are only really little trinkets and things that we borrow through time. So now get back to who we are, because now we've been educated that we've gone through a bifurcation as a child. And we went through the me, mine stage. And as we start to come into our 30s and 40s and 50s, we got to let that go and become real about what life is. So the only thing we have to worry about, or should be trying to concentrate on, are methods. What are the methods that I need to use to make me understand that I have projected to the world something false? that unbeknownst to myself, I've been living the life of a person that I'm really not. My spouse has been doing the same thing because that's what we were taught. My friends are doing the same thing because that's what they were taught. So who are we naturally and who are we in reality? What is a man? What is a woman? What is a human being? And what are our places in the society? What are our roles in this thing called life? And that's where I see people hit mass confusion. And these issues have answers, and they need to be answered so that we could come back to our real selves, right? Get out of the matrix. We have to unplug from the matrix and come back to the reality of what actually is a human being, what is a man, what is a woman, and what are our roles. And this brings us to tactics and strategies from the spiritual realm. It brings us back to the things like religion, philosophy. How is it that you perceive and understand the world? So that when you're in it, you know how to walk through it and be natural and be real. Okay? So again, I'm going past my mark. I'll stop here and, God willing, pick back up on this topic again. So it looks like I'm going to have to do a part 3 with this situation to bring it to completion. So if you liked the episode or you found it something beneficial, please do me a favor and like the video. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel. I love you guys out there. Y'all take care. Peace.